Welcome to CBC Next. I'm here with Pastor Josh, and we're going to talk about Daniel chapter 8. With these, we want to talk more about the scripture that we covered on Sunday. So, Pastor Josh has been looking through, and hopefully, he's got some good stuff to dig deeper into this chapter of the Bible.
Yeah, Daniel 8 is a fever dream, isn't it?
Right,
It's
yeah.
pretty interesting
Great.
stuff. Yeah, I was in the service this past week listening to the message. I told Phil there was a minute or so where I spaced out, and I came back and I was like, what is happening?
Right,
These
yeah.
giant goats and flying goats. Have you ever seen Goat Simulator?
Yeah, oh yeah,
The
yeah,
game?
yeah, right.
That's basically
Yeah,
it, right?
right,
You're
yeah.
playing as a goat and
You're
you're
just launching yourself.
wreaking havoc
Right,
and
just stomping
flying
on
around
things.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So, I was actually talking to Claire this morning too. They're county fairs this morning, and her nephew showed a goat
Oh, nice.
this morning.
How
at
many
the
horns
fair.
did it
So,
have? Four
horns with one. They all meant something
It's the
different.
goat.
So,
Yeah, so
yeah, so I thought that was interesting timing that
Right,
he went
yeah.
and showed that this
That's
morning.
funny.
But yeah, really interesting stuff. I almost kind of felt like there's no way I could know enough about Daniel. Like, and you've
Me
probably
too.
felt the
Yeah,
same
right,
way
yeah.
going into this whole series. It's just there's so much to interpret and so much symbolism, and
Right.
it's a little bit intimidating.
Yeah,
And, I mean, it really is like, you talk about Daniel kind of in the same way you talk about Revelation,
Right.
the apocalyptic nature of the just its genre. It's kind of intimidating, but the goats were interesting, but I've always really, I feel like I'm not great at history
Right.
and really remembering details of history.
Yeah.
But seeing, so in Daniel 8, he's looking forward, it's like 400 years or something like that,
Yeah.
to 170.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
BC, to Antiochus and
Right.
all that. It was really interesting seeing how that was the smaller horn, right?
Yeah.
On the goat.
Yeah. The one that came up
represented
after
on the flying goat.
the second
big
one.
goat.
Yeah.
So to hear you just kind of explain that whole piece of history that was 400 years ahead of Daniel,
Right.
was really interesting.
It's neat for me too to be like, I didn't say this, and I should have on Sunday, that this happens in between the Old Testament and the New Testament.
Right.
This is what's
Yeah.
going on. And so, although we don't have scripture during that time, God did talk about what was going to happen during that time. And so that's kind of neat.
Yeah, I was thinking that as I was rewatching. It's like, we always talk about that, hundreds of years of God's silence.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, well, we actually have in the Bible,
Yeah.
accounts of what was going to happen.
Right.
And we have other historical records that really show us that this stuff was accurate. There was spot on the stuff that Daniel was saying. But yeah, I was really fascinated with that part of the history, and Maccabees, and so was it 2,300 days of the temple being defiled,
Right.
and then being restored again. And I love that it's kind of a common theme in scripture, right? That and you talked about that a lot in your, just kind of the point to drive things home, like God wins in the end.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and it's, the timing of this was interesting. Last night at Student Life, we've been doing summer Psalms, and I did Psalm 10, and it was the first time I've preached a Psalm of lament. And I think it was David that wrote this, that wrote Psalm 10, but that's kind of the main, one of the main things he emphasizes in that lament is, look at all the evil, the suffering, the injustice, the oppression, vulnerable people being taken advantage of. So, and God, where are you? Why are you not acting right now?
Yeah.
Where are you? Why the language he uses is, why are you so far away? Where, why are you hiding from us? And it fits right into that, hey, even in those moments where it feels like God is silent, God ultimately wins. Yeah. And God cares for the oppressed.
Right.
We serve a God that cares about justice.
Yeah.
So even when it doesn't feel like it in the moment, and it's easy to look at, so in that case, Antiochus and the Greeks, the Hellenization, of the temple and the Jewish culture there, like, God was no less on the throne there.
Right.
And God cared about justice. And even as early as Daniel, you saw, hey, there's going to be the, seeming reign of evil for the 2,300 days.
Right.
But God's going to restore what's his.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The one thing that I like about this chapter too is Adam Sandler makes Hanukkah sound so awesome. And so it's cool to be like, hey, Jesus celebrated Hanukkah. And, we don't as a family do that. I don't think it'd be wrong if you wanted to be like, hey, remember when Jesus did this? But Tori's dad went to Israel a few years ago. And so we've had a menorah, the candles in our house for, forever. And it's just, I don't know. It's kind of cool to be like, hey, I can be cool with Hanukkah too.
Yeah, I feel that too, because I think the way that we look at Jewish traditions like that is almost like there's, we need to remember this stuff's historical
Right.
and really led to
Right.
Jesus.
Absolutely.
And so, we don't, as Christians now, just, I guess, follow all those Jewish traditions and all that stuff now, but it's also like there's kind of some strings connected there.
Right. Yeah.
Some lines are so, like, while I'm probably not going to celebrate Hanukkah, like this was a historic part that we see, like these things happening in the Bible.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy to lose sight of that too.
In the New Testament, you see it with the Feast of Dedication. And at 12 years old, that was where Jesus was going when he was lost from it. Well, he wasn't lost, but his parents lost him.
Yeah.
And so anyway, just some cool stuff that's found in Daniel chapter 8. And so we got a few more weeks left in this. Do you have anything else?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say just a couple of the things I wrote down. I thought the death of Antiochus was interesting.
Right.
And it really, that the whole theme that we see in scripture of, those who exalt themselves will be humbled, because it wasn't even like a heroic death battle or anything. It was like that. It was like, oh, I'm hearing about what's happening, and God just like brings him down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool. And just this whole, you've said it multiple times now, and that's the theme of the series, the whole strangers thing.
Right.
That, hey, like, we can't place any hope in any of these broken empires and kingdoms. And it's so hard to, embrace that mindset.
Right.
That we have hope in something greater that's going to come. God's going to bring justice. God's going to redeem things. And we can have hope in something beyond the kingdoms of this world. But yeah, I've really enjoyed the series. Yeah. So I just wanted to throw a couple more things in there that I just thought were really cool. But
awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me to just help talk through these weird chapters. And Daniel, is some strange stuff.
Yeah, probably wishing that I gave you one of the ones earlier on.
Well, yeah, Phil
did a good job.
Phil told me, he was like, "Hey, good luck finding some extra stuff here." Yeah, it's fun to talk about, but it also is intimidating.
Yeah, hopefully you get this chance to see a goat this week and be reminded of Daniel chapter 8. Go back and read it. We didn't get to read the whole thing like we do sometimes in these different chapters in Daniel, but I'm sure God could speak to you through these things as well, like he's spoken to us. We love you, church, and we'll see you on Sunday.